back. While a lot of people are worried about the coronavirus that's spreading in China, doctors here say don't forget about the flu season. We all need to be mindful about stopping germs and taking the steps needed to prevent illness. Here with some tips on how we cannot get sick is friend to the show, Dr. Jeremy Wigginton, the medical director of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana. Welcome back, friend.
Hey, good to see you again.
Good
Thanks so much.
to see you. He's always dressed so well. That's why I had to step it up today. Thank you so much for coming back to talk about this coronavirus as well as the flu season, because I was just in New York City and there were so many people who were wearing the mask because we of course know by now that the coronavirus can be spread person to person. What can you tell us for basically us here in Louisiana so we're not necessarily getting so scared?
Sure, that's a really good point. We do know that type of coronavirus can be spread person to person. So when we hear things like that, especially from a new virus that's out there, we really don't know what to expect. It can really be kind of scary to hear on the news. Luckily, there are not that many cases in the United States, only around a dozen cases currently confirmed of the coronavirus. But we want to make sure that we're staying away not just from people who could be sick from that virus, but also others that are very, very common, such as the flu. So because we have millions of cases of flu in the United States. So we just cannot forget about those more common illnesses that are more prevalent and still cause major problems.
I completely agree, because I remember last time you were here, we were talking about the flu, and we were talking about how Louisiana is still one of the highest states with the flu this year.
Right, we are. We were actually one of the highest in the nation with a diagnosis rate a few months ago, but now, even now that it has slowed down, we are still one of the highest. And so you just want to make sure that you remember that the flu is still out there, making sure that it's not too late, remembering that it's not too late to get your flu shot. The CDC recommends anyone 6 months or older to get a flu shot. So if you haven't had it yet, you still have time. Get out there and get your flu shot. Most plans cover that, little to no out of pocket to get your flu shot taken care of. So.
I hear that, and as you can see right there, flu season can last until April or maybe even May?
Right, it started pretty early around October for us, and it could still go until April or May. So just because it's getting warmer does not mean you can't get the flu. So really pay attention to that. And you know, you had said earlier you noticed some people wearing masks and things in New York City because people are so close to each other. And they may be thinking about coronavirus, but if you're going to be in close quarters with people, especially if you're going to be around sick people, you know, covering your mouth and wearing one of those masks is getting pretty popular. So people really start to think about that, you know, preventing that spread of illness from people to people. Lots of other things you can do besides just that too.
Let's talk about it, because for the people out there who are not a big fan of the needles, again, flu shot, it's a great way to prevent the flu, but there are some other ways we can, you know, not get the flu. Tell us some of those tips, because I need them.
Right, and again, not just the flu, but really any illness. You want to try to stay away from sickness. So washing your hands. That's very, very important. Soap and water. And if you can't get to soap and water, you can use hand sanitizer. But again, washing your hands as often as you can. Not sharing cups, spoons, knives, forks with people, especially if you're at parties or gathering out in public. Make sure you're not sharing, you know, utensils with your friends or family. Want to make sure you're staying away from that. Disinfecting surfaces, especially if you have a family at home. You never know what your kids might bring home germ-wise, so make sure you're disinfecting all your surfaces. Make sure you're staying away from those, you know, things that could be contaminated. And again, if you feel like you're sick, especially if you have fever, stay home. And if you're really not sure what's going on with you, you should really go see a healthcare provider.
Workaholics, come on. If you're sick, stay home. And I love how that one tip you had in there about when you sneeze. A lot of times I sneeze in my hand just because that's the natural habit, but try to sneeze in your upper arm, right?
Correct, right. So a lot of people may grab their lower sleeve, but that can actually still get on your hands and might touch other people. So it's best if you have to sneeze, you can't get to a tissue, use the upper part of your sleeve. That way it will stay away from your hands and away from touching people. So that's a really good tip. Use
That
the
is
upper
a great
part.
tip. I love that. Basically, it's doing the dance move, the dab. So when you sneeze, go like that. You know, if you
Exactly.
don't know the dab dance move, please go look it up. Now, something also cool is that, of course, a lot of people, when say they get sick, they have kids that are getting sick, but they don't want to be in the waiting room with all those germs. You all have this really cool app where you can basically go see a doctor via some type of electronic device, correct?
Absolutely. It's called Blue Care. It's a telehealth, so you can see a doctor online 24 hours a day, any of the 50 states. So you can use a tablet, a smartphone, anything with a video camera or an audio, and log in. Blue Cross members can access that at pretty low cost. So check it out if you haven't already. Get signed up. Thing to remember about flu and other viruses is where you may have fever. The flu does require a test to be checked to see if you have the flu.
Oh, really?
So if you've been around somebody with flu and you think you might actually have the flu, that might require a test that you would need to see somebody in person. But if you're not quite sure what to do about it, or you have symptoms and you may need medication to help with symptoms, or you just want to consult with a physician about what you should do, the telehealth Blue Care is a really good option, especially if you can't leave work, you can't leave home, you're too sick to leave home, and you really want to get in touch with a physician or provider. Check out Blue Care.
What a genius idea. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Look at that, I'm wearing blue today in honor of Blue Cross. We'll say that's what I did it for. I love that. Well, hey, to learn more about preventing illnesses and the spread of germs, you can log on to bcbsla.com.